Aboriginal people from this wonderful land, and let you know that Clive Palmer cares deeply about the Aboriginal people. He is seriously concerned about the amount of Aboriginal children that are dying every day in this country, and it's bigger than anyone here realises, but I won't go on about that too long. Matt mentioned the NBN network, which is a fabulous thing if we can afford it. Clive Palmer believes that people who are waiting for operations in hospitals are more important than the speed of our internet network. And if anybody knows anybody who's waiting for a hospital bed, you are waiting and waiting and waiting. So Clive Palmer would actually abolish that NBN network and put that money, he vows to put $80 million in the hospitals, straight from the federal government to the hospitals and not by the state government, where we do lose some of that money, and of course, the red tape that is involved. There's a lot of small business people here today. I had a small business for about 17 years. I pioneered in Australia Haps Radio, which was Australia's first radio broking company, where one could go to one company to buy any station in Australia. Most of the radio stations slammed the door in my face, because at that time you had to be an accredited advertising agency to get commission. I then went out and got Xerox, Vogue, Reader's Digest, and all these huge national clients from advertising agencies, and put them on the stations that allowed me to, and then the rest of the radio stations came to me with all sorts of bribes to book their stations. My company then evolved, and I'm just telling you a little bit about me because of small businesses. My company then evolved from a radio brokerage to a full-on advertising company to PR and events, and if you look at YouTube, you'll see some of the largest events in Australia were done by Haps events. I did all that, and then I lost my business because I did put my house on the line, as many small businesses do, and I lost my house. And guess what? How hard at my age, when I bought a house, it was so, the price of housing was so different. To buy back in today, I'm paying 6-7 times the price, all because I put my house on the line and had a small business. Small business in this country is getting harder and harder and harder every day. Every single day, we see another door closed, another business closing down, another car yard empty, another retail shop empty. There's full leases signs everywhere. We can't keep going. There's monopoly on the large corporate companies. We've got Woolworths and Coles, they own the petrol stations, they own the pubs, they own the supermarkets. Even my industry, which is media, the little radio man's gone. It's all huge monopolies. So people, for example, who want a job they can work at one station and not get on with their boss, and then they're banned from hundreds of stations countrywide from that network. We've got to we've got to get small business thriving and stop monopolies with large businesses that are putting us out of business. So I am one of the biggest people that could back small business because I had one and it was thriving and I lost it. And I lost my house, I just had my kids out of private school, and my life changed. So I understand the struggle when it comes to that. Now, outside of me and small business, go back to my party, which is Clive Palmer, which obviously is who I believe in, and that's why I'm here today. He is a self-made billionaire. He knows how to make money. He knows how to run a business. And that's what this country needs. This country is a business, and it needs to be started running as one. It doesn't need to be run as politics anymore. People, I've been a swinging voter in my life. I've always voted the leader, not the party. A CEO of a company will dictate a company will thrive or fail. The CEO will dictate that because they employ the people, they make the decisions. It's the same in politics. It is Tony Abbott and it is Kevin Rudd. It isn't my esteemed colleagues here. It's one or the other. Abbott or Rudd. Abbott, yesterday, when you talk about small business or any business, I'm a woman and I'm a single mother, but how absolutely absurd can you be to think that we can afford to pay 6 months maternity leave? Who's the taxpayer can't afford to pay it? An employer's not going to pay 2 people to do one person's job. I cannot believe his own party, his own treasurer, and say that, and up to $150,000 a year. So we are going to pay a woman $75,000 for 6 months maternity leave under the Abbott government. We are already going down the toilet and can end up like Greece and bankrupt. And the whole Abbott campaign is based on the Labor government setting us broke. You know how quickly Abbott set us broke? Paying 6 months maternity leave out of our taxes up to a woman's income of $150,000. And guess who's paying it, by the way? Every small business and corporate in Australia. That's where it'll come back to. That's what it'll come out of. It can't come out of the pockets of the average person, struggling to survive in today's times anyway. It's going to come back to business. And in the end, employers won't want to employ females because we can't afford it. So there'll be discrimination. And I really am absolutely shocked and horrified that he came out with that policy. It has not been thought out. They say it's costed out. Well, I'd like to know by who. Who was it costed out by? At $75,000 per mother. It's just ludicrous. So, and I'm a woman who's had 2 kids and a single mother. I'd be the first one if you didn't have half of economic brain to say, yeah, wow, that's fantastic for us females. It's actually not. It'll go against us. As far as Kingsford Smith goes in the electorate, I have not lived here. My esteemed colleagues have. They know it very, very well. But I will fight for you. I will lobby for you. I will ring the state governments. I will ring the council. I'll be on the phone every day. I'll be in front of them because this electorate has a lot of needs, more so than many others. And I was quite shocked and horrified when I looked into how many it does have and how it's been ignored by councils, by state government, by federal government. So I will fight for Kingsford Smith and all its needs. I will fight for small business to succeed again and get rid of the monopoly of corporate markets. And this isn't today's forums, but I will also fight for the single mother and believe in reversing what Labor took away. They struggle. It's hard enough for them to be mother, father, work, juggle everything, and they took away their last little bit of pension. And effective immediately. I mean, with today's electricity prices, with today's cost of petrol, with the cost of food, they can hardly survive, and that affects our children. Our children are our future, and our children are very important. And the stress on the mothers goes down to the children, goes back to everyone being sick, costs us more money in health, and that has to be reversed. That policy of taking that away from those single mothers. Clive Palmer believes the carbon tax. Every party's going to abolish the carbon tax. Clive Palmer believes in making it retrospective and putting the money back in our hands because we can't afford to pay this electricity price. No business can afford it, the carbon tax, and no personal family can afford it anymore. And there's a lot of people on this electorate that when they get electricity bill, they feel sick in the stomach because they don't know how they're going to pay it. So the carbon tax has to go, and making it retrospective is a good thing. You wonder where he's going to get all the money from. The other thing he wants to do for small business is reduce taxes, so people have more money. If they've got reduced taxes, they'll start spending. You'll all thrive. You'll then have to pay, company tax. You'll then have to pay GST, and money comes back to us anyway. But everybody's a bit more happy and thriving and got more money in their pocket. I haven't got a lot of time to tell you all the policies. My time's probably 2 minutes? Oh, I've got 2 more minutes. How does that? So yeah, he wants to reduce taxes so small business can start thriving again and people can start spending. He wants to, with the boat people and the refugees, there's $6 billion a year being spent on that. He wants to get that back, and how he wants to get it back, and everyone's got a refugee policy because we know how important it is. They arrive in our country with no papers. The people smugglers tell them, don't take any papers. So what the biggest expenditure is over a 5-year period, the $6 billion a year, is spent trying to find out who they are. We can't even say if they're a legitimate or illegitimate refugee until we know who they are. So he says it's $800 to fly here, it's $10,000 to pay a people smuggler. But they don't fly here because we won't let them in without a visa. Fly here without your visa. You can't leave the airport, but in 48 hours, because you can't get on a plane without your papers, we can process you. And we can say you're illegitimate, go back for your legitimate stay. We don't have to spend $6 billion a year and put them in detention centres and put them up and give them this and give them that. 48 hours turnaround time at the airport. We advertise anyway overseas, everywhere. from our government money now. Don't come through people smugglers, don't come by boat. Same money we've spent, $800 to fly, come with no visa, we'll listen to you. It's common sense and it's pretty easy, and it's a 48-hour turnaround, and we save that $6 million a year that then we can put back to hospitals, schools, small businesses, etc. Thank you for listening to me. I hope I made some sense, and if anyone wants to talk to me later, I'd love to talk to you after the event, and whatever way, whoever wins, I wish all you small businesses the best. Thank you.